Good evening. Welcome to the Concord Township Board of Trustees meeting for January 24th, or 21st, excuse me, 2026. If you would, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Lucci.
Present.
Mr. Dondorfer.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve Resolution 2026-03, a resolution by the Concord Township Board of Trustees appointing a trustee to complete the unexpired term of Trustee Morgan R. McIntosh, now vacant due to his resignation, and to hold the same until a successor is elected and qualified.
I will second that motion. At this time, we will have John Wertel step up and be sworn in by our Concord Township retired trustee Morgan McIntosh, who is now our county commissioner. It's an honor to have you here this evening with us, Commissioner, to swear in Mr. Wertel.
We need to vote first on our motion.
Okay.
That's all right.
There's a second.
That's
It's
okay.
a roll call.
It's gonna be
Roll call.
Mrs. Lucci.
Yes.
Mr. Dondorfer.
Yes. Okay.
Just follow me. I, John M. Wertel,
I, John M. Wertel,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of Concord Township Trustee
of Concord Township Trustee
to the best of my ability, so
to the best of my ability,
help me God.
so help me God.
Congrats, John. Yeah.
Okay, and as we move through the minutes, I would urge those that are here for the John's appointment just to stick with us through the trustees' comments. We're going to have some comments regarding the appointment of John to the trustee position. So now we will move into the approval of minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the January 7th, 2026 trustees' office hours meeting minutes.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the January 7th, 2026 organizational and regular trustees meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Mr. Chair, I move to approve the January 15th, 2026 special meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and moving into our elected officials' reports for this evening, we will start off with our fiscal officer, John Patriarca.
Thank you, Mr. Dondorfer. I'd like to welcome Mr. Wertel to his first official meeting. It's great to have you on board and certainly have big shoes to fill. It's great to see Morgan in audience tonight. It's a little goofy seeing him over there and kind of doing like this whole back and forth thing, but we're very excited. I think the board will obviously have their comments as well, but from a personal side, it's great to add another trustee to the board that has so much history in the township, and just kind of sitting in the office hours talking about the development and what Concord was in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and how your family's been around. And it kind of mimics some of the feelings that I had in my first couple meetings here at the township, and kind of that same pride that I have seeing as my parents and grandparents were here in the 60s and 70s as well. They came from Wycliffe and then moved into Morley Road, and then so it's just great to have you part of the team, and I think you're going to do amazing things, and we're lucky to have you. And again, you got big shoes to fill because Mr. McIntosh was certainly an asset to the township, but we're excited and really looking forward to that. And kind of a side note to that is throughout the process of appointing Mr. Wertel, we had a handful of candidates that were extremely qualified, and I think that's just a testament to Concord Township. And some of the internal talent that we have, not just working within the township, but our residents as well. So I think it's very encouraging to know that we have that many residents that are in tune, that are willing and able to help. And so with that said, from a fiscal office perspective, I'll keep my remarks short. We're moving forward in planning for the permanent appropriations for fiscal year 2026. We'll be working on that in the upcoming weeks with the board, getting that on the agenda to finalize that. If anyone has questions in regards to the fiscal office or the 2026 budget, they can contact the fiscal office directly. With that, I conclude my report.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that. And yes, the Patriarchs are synonymous with Concord on Worley Road for certain.
Okay, thanks, John. Now moving into the trustees portion of the meeting, we will start with Mrs. Lucci.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, like you said, things look a lot different here. You know, just a few weeks ago, we had to let go Morgan and to move him on to bigger and better things as our county commissioner. And while that was hard, and while we do know he has big shoes to fill, we know that he was the right fit for that job. You know, Morgan had the experience, he had the knowledge, he cultivated the relationships, he for sure had the leadership to move into that position, as well as the loyalty not only to Concord residents, but to expand that further to the county level. And we certainly couldn't be more proud. We know that he will do great things, and we can't wait to see all of his successes. But we know we had to move on. And we know that, like John said, that we were lucky. We interviewed, you know, a handful of people that came forward that were extremely talented, had a lot of experience. We're very lucky to live in a township where people step up to serve and would probably do a really good job. But for me, John Wertel was the pick, and much the same reasons that I think Morgan had his qualifications to move him forward. John certainly has the experience, his construction management, his planning and strategic maneuvers, you know, make him an ideal candidate, especially as we move forward in building another fire station. His knowledge about not only zoning, but you know, anything in the township for being here so long will serve us very well as we look to expand our comprehensive plan. Certainly the relationships that he has within the township, like he knows everybody. I thought you knew everybody, right? Like you go anywhere and you know someone that knows Carl, you could be in Timbuktu and somebody would know Carl. But same thing with John, you know, he has all those relationships that will really serve us well as we move forward to continue to grow. And, you know, we have a lot of challenges, and that will be it's a great priority to have. Also, your leadership, you know, looking at your bio, you certainly have the experience that is going to carry us far as we move forward. But I think what really did it for me, John, was your loyalty. Your loyalty not only to the residents of Concord Township for being here for so long, your loyalty to your beautiful family, your loyalty to yourself, knowing that you're going to stand up for yourself and speak your mind. But the fact that you are doing this because your loyalty in finding purpose to serve, to me, made all the difference. So congratulations. We are extremely happy to have you on the board. Welcome, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much, Amy.
And that
That means
concludes my report.
Great comments.
Thank you so much, Amy.
Thank you. I think we'll go off script here. I'm going to make some comments now and give Mr. Wertel a few minutes to make some comments. So, yeah, thank you to all the candidates that, you know, put their name out there and were evaluated for this appointment. Again, it's a testament to Concord Township that we have such a great group of leaders within the community that are willing to step up and serve in the community, because it's not easy. And we had some very qualified and talented individuals, and it's definitely big shoes to fill. Morgan was a big part of this team. His leadership was a big part of Concord Township's success over the past several years, and we know he will do great things at the county level, and we're proud of him for that. But you know, talking about Mr. Wertel, I don't know where to start. There's so much I could probably say. I mean, we go back quite a bit, you know, to the early 70s. You know, we're having a little bit of a history session in office hours about Concord Township and just the history that John knows about the township. Some of the things I didn't know. I mean, it's amazing, and he's been described by many as, you know, homegrown, and he really does have a fire and passion for Concord Township. I remember in the early 70s when we were in grade school together with, you and your brothers, Mike and Tom, and his parents were opened up the first convenience store in Concord in the late 70s, and we'd walk home from school and get something to eat on the way home, and his parents were so gracious, and they were a big part of Concord, and they had passed away some time ago, but John has carried on that passion and commitment to Concord for a number of years. And like you said, Amy, well-known in the community, he's established great relationships. He's collaborated on multiple land acquisitions and developments in Concord. He knows Concord. Just to give you a little bit about his expertise and why he's qualified. Not only, growing up in the community, going to St. Gabe's, practiced St. Joseph High School on a state championship football team in '89, attended Mount Union, studied construction management methods. He's got a great background in sales, marketing, private equity, business development, strategic planning, project management. All those things are very important to us in Concord right now with, the Fire Station 2 project going on and our comprehensive plan. He's got extensive construction management experience with a lot of prominent, well-known developers, and he's got a great knowledge base for that. He's currently serving as the president of Jaluki Incorporated, which is construction management, as well as the interest in Terra Dorada Savant Lake Minerals, which is a mining company that specializes in the extraction of rare minerals from abandoned mines throughout Canada. So he's got an extensive professional resume. His extensive time in Concord Township has allowed him to form great relationships and collaborations which are important to Concord Township. He's been on the boards of several nonprofits like Fine Arts Association, St. Gabriel Parish Council, another nonprofit, One Hope NEO, and he currently serves as director and board member of Saltwater Warriors, which is another nonprofit that's purpose is to guide veterans on their journey to mental wellness and empowering them to find peace and resilience through nature experiences. He came to us. Morgan and you and I were on the board. He came to us a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, say, I want to give back to Concord. Is there any way I could serve? You have some openings on the board, and we put him in there, and we watched him develop, and the feedback we got from staff in Concord Township was great. Always prepared for the meetings, asks great questions. He deliberates professionally. He makes wise decisions. Seems to get along very well with staff and other team members, and it was just great to hear that. And he also had that initiative of wanting to eventually be a trustee. We didn't know that would come up, but again, he's developed within Concord Township, and we're happy to have him. I think he's going to be a great asset to the board. He's got a great family. He's raised his family here. I've known Holly, the girls, Jane, Lauren, and Kim, all grew up here. And, his experience and his commitment to his family in Concord Township will serve this township well. And welcome aboard, Mr. Trustee.
Thank you, Carl. Really appreciate that. I like the sound of that, actually. I'm going to start off with something. It's such an honor. And when we were going through this process, and I can assure the residents of Concord Township that the trustees and the staff and the administration did an unbelievable job of vetting for this position. This wasn't done lightly. It's been, from a personal experience, it has. It was awesome, is the best way I could describe it. I always told our kids that, local politics affects your life more than anything else. And I got to witness that firsthand on zoning commission, and I really got to witness it firsthand going through this process. I do want to start one thing when I got made aware of that I was getting this appointment. I'm a man of faith. And I hold that dearly. And it was ironic. I have a little devotional that I go to every morning. And the next morning after I got this appointment, The devotional was 1 Kings 3:9. It says, "Give me an understanding mind so that I can govern people well and know the difference between right and wrong." That was the next morning. And I've told my family, it's awesome. I've told my family that, and the staff and everybody, that this is a calling, and I believe it. God's got a plan for me, and everything happens for reasons. And the reason it found me to be sitting here right now as a Concord Township trustee, I need to first and foremost, obviously, thank my wife, Holly. Holly is the rock that I stand on. I could go on and on, but I probably wouldn't be able to get through it. An interesting note about Holly, for Concord Township residents, Holly Hills on Hoos Road is named after Holly Wortell. Her dad developed that property in the 80s as he developed much of Concord Township, Concord Hills, and he named that one after my wife. I couldn't also go on without thanking my daughters, Jane, Lauren, and Kimberly. And I'm going to include Nana in this one as well, Holly's mother, Mary Soul, who's legendary in Wycliffe, by the way, John, and my future son-in-law, Weston. When I got asked if I'd be interested in doing this, I told Carl that I had to talk to my family first. And I needed to get their permission to do this, to take on this role if it came to me. And we got together at the house, and I said, I have an announcement to make, and I told them about the opportunity that might be presenting itself to me and asked their blessing. I wouldn't do it without it. And enthusiastically, I got a big yes. A lot for my future son-in-law, Weston, actually. But it meant the world to me. I couldn't have done it without him, and I wouldn't do it without him. I've got some awesome friends. Let me back up. I also want to thank my brother Mike, who's here tonight. Mike lives over in Avon and made the drive over to be with here. Mike, I'll get into that in a second, but let's say that before Concord was developed, my brother Mike and I tramped all the way through Concord. I can name you most streets that weren't there when Mike and I were roaming around Concord after working at our parents' grocery store. But I digress. One of the things that, talking about our history here in Concord, I walk in the door and you look at the trustees' names, Pomeroy and Murray and Prouty and Spear. We see these roads out there now, Call, obviously Connie Luda, Chris Galloway, Morgan, Amy, and Carl. And, it gets said a lot that we stand on the shoulders of giants. That phrase gets thrown around a lot. And you look and see what Concord has not only just developed since I've been here in the mid to late 70s, but from when these guys started. And it's amazing. It's amazing that we're sitting here and all these years later, we're having this meeting as trustees, right? And I'm one of those people now, and that means the world to me. Why did I take this on? On August 16th, 1977, my parents opened a grocery store in Concord, Ohio. There was nothing here. I say this all the time. Hoos was tar and chip. There were very little houses. There was very little commercial land developed. Concord Plaza, St. Gabriel's Church, the Patriarchas on Morley Road, and that little convenient food mart that my parents, my dad, mom, decided to put in that spot. It was their choice. There was nothing here, but my dad believed in Concord Township. He said, they've got a church, they've got a school, it will be developed, and we'll grow our family business here. They owned that for 20 years. I grew up working. My dad had a rule when we were out of school. You give me 8 hours of your life. You can pick them. We open at 5:30, we close at midnight, and you pick your 8 hours. And I say that because I got to watch not only, that's starting with the construction workers that put roads in Concord Township that would come to my parents' grocery store. I got then to watch families, young families move in, got to know them personally, and still do to this day. The Freights, the Gilsons, I could go on and on. The Dondorfers. Too many names to list. My parents owned that store for 20 years. And I remember, and I'm sorry for being long-winded, I apologize.
Take your time.
Watching this community grow, and when former trustees would come in, my dad would say, that's a trustee. Leo Scully, that's a trustee, John. And held them in high regard. So I held the trustees in high regard. That same grocery store, one night when I was home working while attending Mount Union College, a young woman came in to buy milk. And 32 years later, almost 33 years later, she's sitting in the front row. I started talking to Holly that night, and the love story continued. So not only did I grow up in a family business there, met my wife there, attended St. Gabriel's School, St. Gabriel's Church, tramped around Concord with my brothers after working, raised our kids in Concord. Our kids went to St. Gabriel's School. We go to St. Gabriel's Church. But that's what Concord means to me. In the late 90s, Holly and I took on the project of developing Little Mountain Country Club. And as John Sherwood said at the final meeting, and I'm not going to get into all the weeds about which I've told some of the people here, that he believed Little Mountain Country Club was going to be a shining star of Concord Township. And I believe that it is. I truly believe that what we did there was great for Concord Township at the time. And I'm proud of that. So, wrapping this up, I believe that this is a calling. I do. I believe it. You have to want to do this. You have to accept it and understand that it's an honor to do this. And it's an honor I'm willing to take and a calling that I'm willing to take because of the history that I have here. And that I truly believe, and I promised, and I said this to some of my friends, Chris Lazuka, who's sitting in the audience tonight as well. You may not always agree with what I decide from up here, but understand that I'm doing it with the best belief that it's the best for Concord Township as a whole. And I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart. I may not make all the right decisions, but I'm going to make sure that I have an understanding so that I can govern the people well and know the difference between right and wrong. So thank you guys. Thank you for the honor, John, Andy, Bryony, Matt, staff. Thank you for believing in me, and I promise I will give you my absolute best and 100%. Thank you. Thank you. Now I guess we have to
Get to the business. Okay, moving on. Thank you,
Tough
John.
act to follow.
Department reports. Our administrator, Andy Rose.
Tough act to follow. Thank you, Mr. Dondorfer, members of the board, Mr. Patriarca, members of the audience. Good evening. Welcome our newest county commissioner as well. I'd like to welcome and congratulate Mr. Wertel. We all look forward to working with you. The staff is excited. I'm excited. Trustee school starts tomorrow. As usual, I will start with the items on the agenda. Item A is Resolution 2026 Tax 04, which adopts the 2025 Ohio Fire Code as the standard for Concord Township. This resolution was worked on between Chief, Deputy Chief, and our Law Director, so thank you for the heavy lift on that to get that done. Item B is Resolution 2026 Tax 05. This approves a professional services agreement for engineering services for 2026 with SBJ Consulting for an amount not to exceed $20,000. This is the annual engineering services contract. Bob Parker will be our consulting engineer. Item D is a purchase order for fireworks for Community Day. We signed early to get the best price, and that amount is $12,650. Item E is a purchase order to Lake County Door in the amount of $26,600 to replace the 5 garage doors in the Service Department North Building. These doors will be covered by NOPEC grant funds. Item F is a purchase order to Phoenix Safety Outfitters in the amount of $22,794. That is for new firefighter turnout gear. Items G through I are votes to offer employment to candidates for part-time firefighters. And then the last vote, item J, is a vote to reappoint Mr. Brian Falkowski as an alternate to our BZA for another 2-year term. Moving on, yesterday, getting back to Mr. Wertel, yesterday I received and accepted on behalf of the trustees a resignation letter from Mr. John Wertel as a member of our zoning commission, effective January 20th, 2026. So that is his time on the zoning commission is put to bed. I continue working closely with the USDA field office to complete the required paperwork necessary for Fire Station 2 funding. There are some changes that need to be made to the architect's contract due to the mid-project name change from LeMay Erickson Wilcox to FGMA. USDA wants an updated contract, so the architect is looking over that, and then we'll be consulting with the law director to tighten all that stuff up to meet the federal requirements for that. And then lastly, a reminder to everyone, our next meeting, and you'll hear this at the end, but our next meeting will be held on a Monday. Our next regular trustee meeting will be on Monday, February 2nd at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because we will be in Columbus for the annual township conference that week. So we moved our meeting up. And that concludes my report. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rose. Okay, moving on to our audience portion this evening. If anybody would like to come to the podium, if you would, just please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
I do. Here you go. Page 1 and page 2, and Brian will put those up on the screen for you when you're ready.
Evening, Mr.
Good
Patterson,
evening.
how are you?
Good. Congratulations, John.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Patterson.
know what it feels like. Amy,
Yeah.
Carl. Before I get into my presentation, I think it'd be a good idea to give you some background as to what got me here and why I'm saying what I'm saying. About 10, 15 years ago, I realized that property taxes in this state, anywhere, are going out of control. And I tried to do something about it. I worked with the people down in Columbus on House Bill 546 for over 2 years. I mean, consultants, people, changes, on and on and on. And finally got it to the point where it was ready to go to a subcommittee or whatever they do down there to pass bills. So I went to the commissioners in Lake County to ask them to send a letter down, so, to put their backing. Nada. I went to our trustees, asked them to send a letter down to back it. Nada. This bill would have froze property taxes at age 70. So you don't lose your home if you can't pay anymore. If you're on a fixed income, it'll help you immensely. So now what happens? Well, the bill is sitting down there in the dustbin of Columbus, and along comes Brian Massey, who sensed my frustration because I couldn't get a thing done. Didn't want to swear, and it just dawned on me that nobody's listening. Nobody cares. I think one guy down in Columbus said if they can't afford their home, they should go and live in an apartment, sell their home. I couldn't believe it, and I know who it was. I'm not going to say. I know him, some senator. So I gave up. I thought, we're never going to get there. It's not going to happen. As a former trustee, I'm beating my head against the wall. I can't get anyone to help me. And then Brian comes up with the thing, well, that guy, he went all over the state to try to get help for property tax relief and got nowhere in the last 3-4 years. Time's flying, we're all growing old. And we're not going to be here after a few more years. So in a last-ditch effort, Brian put together a hell of a lot of signatures to get on the ballot to eliminate property taxes permanently in the state of Ohio. And a lot of people were saying it can't be done, it can't be done. I think Andy said it couldn't be done. But it can be done. And that's what my presentation is here tonight. I just wanted to give you some background. Okay. I'm not an agitator. I'm not trying to cause you problems because from what I can see, this thing is going to pass. And when it passes, you've got to have a plan B. Brian, can I have the first slide? Oh, everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
The trustees also have copies of your presentation, and the audience will be able to see that on their screens on the YouTube channel.
Thanks, Andy, and thanks for your help putting this together.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's the nut that you got to crack if you're going to get rid of property taxes? Well, if you get rid of property taxes, $23.9 billion are going to be eliminated from the revenue stream for the state of Ohio. It's a lot of money. And I had a 3-page letter that went through a bunch of iterations on how to arrive at this. This is the last page. that gets me to the 23.9. There's all sorts of things you can do, or they can do down in Columbus, but all sorts of things they'll have to do when this passes. So the sales tax increase, 10%, 9 or 10% will generate $10 billion. Income tax rates a little bit more, it can $5 to $6 billion. Business taxes, $3 to $4 billion. Government efficiencies, if we can aim for a higher percentage of savings, say 7 to 10% on a budget, you can save $5 billion more. By the way, I got something from, what the hell was that group from Ohio that said we really have a $160 billion budget, not a $65 billion? Ohio Buckeye Institute. So the guys down in Columbus, they don't have a $65 billion, they have a $165 billion budget. Why don't they tell us that? Why does the Buckeye Institute have to tell us? I don't know. It's strange. Anyway, federal grants and other revenue streams, $2 to $3 billion. You guys are good at getting grants here and everything. I don't want to bore you with all the details. These are hypothetical, okay? These are all hypothetical. Brian, can I have page 2? By blending these strategies, you can come to $23.9 billion. In one area, for example, the business tax category, the commercial activity tax, the CATs or whatever it's called, that's a very low percent right now. You can get some more money from that. The commercial activity, you can go to 0.2. It's 2.2% now, 0.26%, and go higher. If we consider increasing CAT rate, go higher. But the real key here isn't the revenue streams. The real key, and from the bottom of my heart to our new trustee and my trustees here, pull your belt in and tighten your belt. And if the state did that, they could easily save $16 billion, easily, with no cuts, no increases. Do they want to do it? I don't think so. I mean, I've been trying for years. He's been trying for years. Nothing. Nobody's talking about saving money, living within your budget. When I became trustee, I was scared to death. We needed a new fire truck. We needed a new EMT vehicle. Where are we going to get the money? Are we going to have a renewal or levy and everything? I did not want to increase taxes. It was very, very difficult. So I admire the jobs you guys are doing and what you have to go through. I've been there, done that. But for God's sakes, we've got to stop spending money like it's a bottomless pit, a well that just keeps. Oh, you need some money for a school? Yeah, put in our school board. I don't know if you guys are aware. They canceled the roofing contract that saved over $3 million or something. I don't know what the details were, and they just canceled it. Well, they didn't have a new contract. They didn't have. What are you going to wait till the roof falls in and then get a new school? I think that's their brain set. It's beyond pale. We have to live within our budget. I know you guys have heard this before. I know people are upset about it, but this time it's come to a head because I've seen it for the last 25 years. I've been in Concord for over 40 years. It's come to a head. Nobody wants to increase taxes. Nobody wants more levies and renewals and anything else. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Just a couple comments I have, and then if the other trustees want to comment. I appreciate your presentation. I will tell you, from my own perspective, I recognize that there's issues with property tax, okay? I'm all for some type of reform, but what we have an obligation to do here is in Concord, like you said, is to watch our spending, which I think we do a pretty good job at. John runs a tight budget. We don't overspend. We looked for other funding mechanisms. We went out and got a federal grant to fund half of Station 2's construction without going to the voters. We looked at other revenue streams to fund township operations. So we are very in tune and good stewards of the township as far as the budget and operating within our budget. I think we do a great job.
Yep.
When I talk about reform, my concern is we have an obligation to meet the needs of the citizens of Concord Townships and the services they need. Fire, police, streets. If if there is an abolishment of property tax without some other type of funding mechanism in place, like you're talking about, the blending of these other financial revenue or financial streams that has to be passed at the state level. I mean, Concord Township, we did the numbers. I mean, 30 to 40 days, we're out of service. 80% of our budget is reliant on property tax, I think, right, John?
No, Carl, if I could just interject. My point here is that you have to get the local government fund in your favor. It used to be a lot more significant than it is now, because they keep cutting it.
I understand that. And
That's going to be your salvation.
Right, and that's at the state level, but I sympathize with what you're saying. I just want you to know that we are not turning a blind eye to this. We've had significant conversation at the Lake County Township Association with the commissioners, who have done a lot, and we are keeping a pulse on this thing and trying to do what we can to,
Sig Andy on them. You're going to need.
But I appreciate your comments, but I will tell you that this group here is running a tight budget,
Okay.
and we are not overspending. We're
No
trying
complaints.
to meet the needs of our residents and give them the best service possible. And we understand, we don't want to see anybody burdened or out of their homes or anything of that nature. One of our jobs is to help out our residents to the best that we can do. So-
But it hasn't been happening.
To kind of expand on
well-
what Carl was, kind of getting to, and when I first came into office, we were in, I don't want to call it a dire position, but a position where there was a levy on the ballot at the same time I was running, and that levy did not pass, and hard decisions needed to be made, specifically in regards to safety services and what we were going to be doing with our sheriff contracts and what we were able to do. Hard decisions were made. Another levy went on the ballot, and I think that in terms of the services being offered, those levies are decided by the residents, and they said, we do want to increase the safety services budget based on the proposed levy to provide additional sheriffs for the streets and to obviously help with our fire department. So in that respect, in terms of tightening our belt, the belt was tight, which I'm good with. I'm very comfortable in that scenario.
Yeah.
My 9 to 5, I'm tightening belts left and right to improve efficiency and increase that bottom line. And this is, I love this kind of stuff. So I'm good with that. I'm certainly sensitive to seniors on fixed income. I think everybody up here is. But to kind of just echo what Carl is saying, we do have an obligation to our residents. And while this blended revenue replacement strategy is, certainly a strategy that could be worked with, it's just not something that the four of us are certainly going to
I
solve.
understand.
And we can,
I'm trying to look into the future.
Right.
And tell
Sure.
you that when November, when that passes, all hell's gonna break loose. Between now and November, if I were you guys, I'd start planning on getting Andy down there and getting my tentacles into that local government fund. There's a process they use down there to take that money in, and they will increase everything. They will get that money, and then give it back to you.
And I think Andy's aware of that process, right?
Yeah, look, I'm not being glib. I'm on the vice chair of a statewide board for larger Ohio townships. We advocate for a larger slice of the local government fund all the time. Problem is, the state is reducing income tax. That's where the local government funds come from. And as the state reduces the income tax, there's less money available to distribute to the local governments. Let me finish. They, with all due respect to the House and the Senate in Columbus, they pat themselves on the back because they raised the local government fund share from 1.7 to 1.75, so a 0.05% increase. But with the reduction in income tax, there will be less money coming to us in subsequent years. We'd like to see it go back to what it was before Governor Kasich cut it in half. My other major concern, and I've heard this a lot from different organizations, 9 to 10% sales tax will absolutely crush manufacturing. Because any manufacturer in Ohio that's got a competitor in Indiana, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Kentucky, everybody's working on tight margins, And if I make a widget in Ohio and I've got to add 10% to my price, where my competitor in Kentucky, Indiana, pick a state, doesn't have to, and they have a lower sales tax price.
I don't think you had 10%
I'm-
to your price.
I-
If I'm manufacturing a $100 widget, there's a 10% tax, Ohio gets $10. I still charge $100.
You still charge $100, but the end user is going to pay 110.
I understand, but
So that's the trade-off. The other thing is you're gonna kill all the border communities where they're gonna jump to Michigan, Indiana, Kentucky, Pennsylvania.
That's true.
West Virginia, down in Appalachia.
Andy, I
And
agree.
I think that.
There's
That's
certainly
true.
a point of diminishing returns.
I'm nervous about everybody that says switch to a consumption tax. I don't think relying strictly on a consumption tax is a responsible way to go. There's gotta be a blended. I think there needs to be property tax reform. I think the first thing that they should do is pass a bill that says no tax foreclosures on owner-occupied homes, period, dot, stop. That's simple, low-hanging fruit to me. But that's all. I can debate this
all
for
those
days,
points-
so I'm gonna stop.
Andy, all
Okay.
those points are true, I agree. My point is, if this passes in November, and I think it will, they won't have any choices. You know, your argument on sales taxes are absolutely correct. I remember a former commissioner wanted to go to a higher sales tax here in the county, and he got,
Correct.
canned. But if they don't increase the sales tax, and I hope they don't, they should cut the spending in some other areas. There's about 5 or 6 categories on here they can get to and do something about. It doesn't have to be, this is a blended strategy. Thank you, John.
And I agree, and I like it's. But even like you look at the cat tax, right? So the cat tax, and I'm not sure like when these numbers are from, but in 25 they actually.
2024.
So in 25 they doubled the exclusion number. So entities, it's based on gross receipts, right? So it's not even based on net profit. It actually is. It's good for small business. It's detrimental for low margin. Anyway, they doubled that exclusion from 3 million to 6 million. So the net receipts aren't even taxed until 6 million. So you're looking at, I don't know what the final numbers are, but the overall revenue is certainly going to drop regardless, just based on that exclusion being doubled to 6 million. So I think we're all on the same page. Certainly everybody up here is sympathetic to seniors that are on fixed incomes that are struggling with property taxes. But, I also echo Carl's, we have to do what's right for the Concord citizens while also kind of taking into account, yes, there is need for property tax reform.
John,
I believe it needs to be done in a
John,
responsible manner.
if I'm right, and that guy sitting back there is right, you won't have a need, you'll have an emergency. That's my point of coming here tonight.
We appreciate
You
that.
can forget about all
We
the things
understand
that
that. We
Andy's right.
understand the urgency, believe me. We
Okay,
do.
We do.
that's my whole point.
Amy, do you have any comments?
I just want, everything everyone's saying, obviously, we worry about what we are here to do and serve, and we need to make sure that we have the tools, resources, the labor to take care of our constituents. So that is why we're here. That's why we're on this board. I feel like this plan really is, it's a little more volatile. It's kind of tied to whatever the economic conditions are, and who knows how things change. What happened in 2020, COVID, right? But I think it's really just a tax shift. We're still going to pay this money, either sales tax, income tax, and what is the administrative cost going to be to try to organize this shifting? So I applaud you for caring. You and Mr. Massey you care, and we do too. But I still feel we haven't seen anything that is really the nuts and bolts to really what is the best reform right now.
I don't follow you. That's not my point. My point is it's going to pass. I think it's going to pass. If it passes, there won't be any structure or reform. The people down in Columbus are going to have to recircle the wagons and re-tax in categories that we have mentioned here, and maybe some other hidden ones that they have. But it's going to happen. And if it happens, you don't have to worry about administration or anything else. You have to make sure you got your attack dog down there to get that local government funding for Concord, because that's the only revenue you're going to have to replace property tax. And the mindset I'm trying to leave with you is it's going to be gone. By November, it's going to be gone.
We understand the urgency. That's why we are in tune with everything going on. And John, any comments?
No, I applaud you for coming forward. You know, your voice is heard. I think maybe look at raising awareness is the best thing you possibly do. I'm not going to get into the weeds of stuff that I might not know as much as you guys do yet with Concord's fiscal responsibility. I obviously live in Concord. I think you guys have done an excellent job of that. I do understand the urgency. I think the board, from what I'm hearing, understands the urgency. But I applaud you for coming forward and having your voice be heard. Absolutely.
Thanks,
you,
Mr.
guys.
Pavers.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bob.
Appreciate it. Anybody else? Okay, moving on to old business, seeing that we have none, we will move into the new business for the evening.
Mr. Chairman, I vote to approve Resolution 2026-04, a resolution by the Concord Township Board of Trustees adopting a 2025 Ohio Fire Code as amended to date as the standard fire code for the township.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to pass, resolution, new business B, vote resolution 2026-05, a resolution by the Concord Township Board of Trustees approving the professional services agreement with SBJ Consulting LLC for 2026 in amount not to exceed $20,000.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye. Mr. Chair, I move to approve the December financial report.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I vote to approve PO in the amount of $12,650 to American Fireworks for the 2026 Community Fireworks Display.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Mr. Chair, I move to approve Service Department purchase order to Lake County Door in the amount of $26,600 for the replacement of 5 garage doors in the Service Department's north building.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I vote to approve the Fire Department's PO in the amount of $22,794 to Phoenix Safety Outfitters for the purchase of firefighter turnout gear.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Mr. Chair, I move to approve the Fire Department conditional offer of employment to Javier Guerrero for the position of part-time firefighter EMT basic effective 1/21/26 pending completion of new hire paperwork.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I vote to approve the Fire Department's conditional offer of employment to Logan Gunaho for the position of part-time firefighter EMT basic effective 1/26 pending completion of new hire paperwork.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Mr. Chair, I move to approve the Fire Department's appointment of part-time firefighter EMT basic Gavin Held to the position of part-time firefighter paramedic effective 1/11/2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Mr. Chairman, I vote to reappoint Brian Falkowski as Board of Zoning Appeals alternate member for a term effective January 29, 2026 through January 28, 2028.
Second.
Any discussion?
Brian does a great job.
Yes, he's been a great
Fantastic.
asset to the township, and he's done a wonderful job. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and moving into future meetings and announcements, Mr. Patriarca, please.
On February 2nd, which is a Monday, as opposed to our usual first Wednesday of the month, Monday, February 2nd, staff meeting at 3 p.m. and the trustee meeting will be at 4 p.m., both here at Town Hall.
All right, and that concludes our meeting for this evening. Good evening, Concord Township. We're adjourned.